Hey, it's Nick Marzock with Full Compass. What am I doing with my hands?
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Fans of SSL, or really recording in general, will remember the classic 4000 series consoles that made them famous. They had such a signature, sought-after sound to them, that was a lot of alliteration, that SSL took that sound and harnessed its power into rack-mounted channel strips. The E-Series signature channel and the Super Analog signature channel that was based on the 9000 K-Series console. Those were awesome rack units. Everybody loved them, and then they went away. Everybody hurts. Do you feel that? Feels like a revival! I thought you were God. And here you are. This is the Revival 4000 signature analog channel strip from Solid State Logic. The classic channel strip from the console that you know and you love. Switchable EQs between the brown knob 02 EQ and the 242 black knob EQ. De-esser from the B-Series console, the OG. Process routing customization, linkable for a stereo pair. Jensen transformers on the mic preamp, just like the original. Basically the greatest hits of the consoles and the previous channel strips with the sound of a 4000 console. It's a revival! I feel it in my soul. Let's get fully into it. This is Full Review. Okay, whoops. Tone it down, Nick. Something about SSL makes me excitable, but especially when they do something like this. The 4000 consoles were like the genesis, pun intended. That joke makes sense if you know the history of SSL. Of this company's rocket ship to success. The sound of each channel in that board, and really all SSL consoles, became the high watermark, the paradigm in music recording. So many of our favorite albums were recorded on an SSL 4K series console because of that sound. If you want a deeper dive into the history of SSL and the 4K consoles, check out my review of the SSL 2 Mark II. Just click on a link here. Just click on a link somewhere or search it, old school. Everybody wants that sound, but not everybody can afford a 4K console or even have space for it, right? A lot of people are in home studios or even mid-sized studios. You need a big control room for one of those with a big budget. For a period of time, you could buy one in the rack. SSL took the exact channel strips and packaged it into the E-Series signature channel, and then they went away, but now it's back. Lots to get to with this, so many buttons and knobs. So let's do a quick tour, hopefully quick tour. Power button all the way to the right over here. Press the power button, light comes on, fires up, just like just like everything else. Let's actually go to the back first. Let me see if I can do this. Don't unplug anything. Okay, the back. Power cable comes with the unit, plugs in on the left. All the way to the right, if you're looking at it this way. If you're looking above, it's gonna be on the left. These are your inputs. So there's a mic input, that's XLR, and then there's a combo XLR TRS jack, 4 line level sources, Neutrik connectors. All of the components in this unit are top line, pro level. I mean, Neutrik connectors, chef's kiss. Components and transformers. The mic pre has the same transformer that was in the original E-Series channel in the original 4K boards. The Jensen JT115KE transformer, to be exact. Of course I knew that by heart. You are seriously getting that sound. What sound? That sound. You know this sound. Insert, send, and return jacks right beside the inputs for other outboard processing. Another combo XLR TRS jack, Neutrik, of course. For external dynamic sidechain if you want an external source to be the trigger for your dynamics. Next to that is a 1/4-inch sidechain link jack, so you can pair 2 of these units together for stereo sources. We'll talk about that just a little bit later on. And then finally, XLR output. All right, that's pretty much all there is on the back, so flip it back. I'm trying not to get a tangled mess. All of the buttons and the knobs. Let's start with the input. 2 knobs here. The red one is your mic channel gain. Great range from +20 to +70 decibels. And the gray knob is line input trim from -20 to +20 decibels. Phantom power pad, which I think is -20. The product's not out yet when I'm filming this, so I have to kind of experiment and take some educated guesses. Phase invert switch and the switch to activate the line input. The Revival 4000, just like SSL's other units, have these great LED lights that indicate when something is engaged. So if I turn on the phase invert, LED light kicks on, and that comes in handy so that you know what's active and what's not, especially when you're in processing that we'll start talking about right now. Next to the inputs is the de-esser. Like I mentioned, this is kind of the greatest hits of consoles and rack units. So they took the de-esser from the 4000 B series console, you know, the revolutionary one from Abbey Road Studios that kicked this whole thing off, that de-esser. You press the in button to toggle it on and then use the knob to adjust the amount of de-essing. If I turn it basically off, SSL, SSL, and then turning it all the way up, SSL, SSL. It's a really great smooth de-essing. LED meter to indicate how much S you are D'ing. That doesn't sound right. Next section, boom, dynamics. Compressor, gate, expander. I'm gonna put on some headphones to monitor what I'm doing. First, to turn on dynamics processing, dynamics in switch right there. You can see the compressor's already starting to light up on the meter. Starting with the ratio knob, so if I turn that all the way counterclockwise, that's just 1:1, so basically your compressor's off. But as you turn that knob, the ratio increases until it becomes essentially a hard limiter. Threshold from +4 to -26, so the more you increase the knob, the lower your threshold is getting. You're a pro, you know how to use a compressor. Obviously. Release knob starts at 0.1 second and goes all the way up to 4 seconds. In between the release time and the ratio is a linear release button. So when that's engaged, it changes the release curve from a logarithmic shape to a linear shape. Take that off. Let's get a nice smooth compression on this for the rest of the video. Then there are these two buttons on the left side of the dynamics section. The first one kind of looks like a high-pass filter, but it's actually, if I engage that, it's switching from an over-easy compression to a peak sensing compression with a hard knee. Over-easy is going to be a little bit softer, a little more gradual gain reduction in the compressor. Then next to that is the fast attack button, so this will speed up the attack to just a couple of milliseconds if you need to control some transients depending on your input source. It's fast. You could try to beat it. Hey! It's pretty fast. Let's talk more about this LED meter. On the top, these orange lights, that's the compressor that's showing you the amount of gain reduction. On the bottom is a row of green LED lights showing your gate reduction or your expander, how that's working. The gate has 3 knobs as well: threshold, release time, and range. Range controls the depth of the gate or expander. All the way counterclockwise is 0, so it's basically off, up to a range of 40 decibels if it's all the way clockwise. Now you can see the green meter kicking in. The threshold knob goes from -30 dB all the way up to +10 dB, so a really great range to find that floor where you want the gate to then open up. And then the release knob, which, just like the compressor, goes from 0.1 to 4 seconds. So this is a release of 0.1 seconds. And here's 4 seconds. There's also a fast attack button on the gate. It's pretty fast. And between the release and the range knobs is the button for engaging the expander. So it turns this gate into a 2-to-1 expander, I believe. The next segment of the board, these are your filters. Low pass knob on the top and then high pass knob down below. When the knobs are all the way counterclockwise, they are out. They are off. But as soon as you start to turn the knob, you'll see the LED light kick on, which indicates the filter is active. Low pass goes all the way down to 3 kilohertz. So there goes all the high end on my voice. And the high pass light turns on. This goes up to 500 hertz. So you can do some pretty aggressive filtering inboard. The filters also have 2 buttons here. The first one is for dynamic sidechain. If you engage that, the filters will now apply to the dynamic sidechain of your signal. Next to that button is the input button. So pressing that will move these filters immediately after your channel input so they can be applied pre-compression. That's something we'll come back to with routing customization of processing. Not only are you getting the iconic sound of the 4000 series consoles, you're able to control the processing so you can really control your sound. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the EQ section. SSL is known for so much, right? Their history, their legacy, their consoles, their innovation with emerging technologies, EQs. Let's turn it on with this middle button right here, EQ in. So now the EQ is active. The default EQ in this unit is the O2 EQ, also known as the brown or brown knob EQ, named after the color of the low frequency knobs. They're brown. Super sought after and popular in the early 80s on the E-Series consoles. It's a warm, musical, smooth EQ. The 2 shelving sections, the high frequency red knobs and the low frequency celebrity brown knobs. They have a little ego on them. Work the same on opposite ends of the spectrum. Traditional 6 decibels per octave design, you can control the frequency in which they're applied on the lower knob and the gain on the upper knob. There's also this button on each of the shelving options that says bell that will switch the band to a fixed Q parametric bell-shaped curve. 2-2, hey 1-2, 2-2. Really boomy with some treble. No boom and no treble. Switch that to a bell to give some boost. Super voiceovery. This summer comes a new rack unit. Then you have the mid-band frequencies, the low mid and high mid knobs. These are SSL's classic logarithmically symmetric design. For both, you have the gain on top, and then below on the outside you have the frequency, and in the middle you have the Q value to shape the bell curve. These knobs feel really great, by the way. This is a pro rack unit, so you want pro components. There's a really nice resistance. The gain knobs have a locking position at 12 o'clock so that it's exactly 0 if you want to bypass that band. There's a button beside the EQ in button that will apply the EQ to your dynamic sidechain, and that's appropriately labeled dynamic sidechain. Am I over-explaining? Yes. Is this video too long? Probably. Then we have a button on the other side of the EQ in button, the black button. Another famous EQ, George Martin's EQ, he helped develop it. The 242 black knob EQ circuit, appropriately named for the black knobs on the low frequency. This EQ had enhanced cut and boost ranges with a different control law and a steeper high pass filter to have more control over low frequencies. A little tighter, a little more aggressive. This button gives you the option to select between these two beloved EQs, so you never have to choose. Well, eventually you have to choose before you hit record, but you can switch between them depending on your audio source or to experiment with which one you like better. The next section is what kicks this channel strip up a notch.
Kick it up one more notch.
That is a dated reference my 90s is showing. Bam! Bam! Routing. Just like the consoles, you get so much control over your circuit in this little section here. You can choose to move the dynamic section or the de-esser or both post EQ, depending on your input source or depending on your flavor. You can control the sound the way you want to. Live your truth. Then you can control the dynamic side chaining. Right below that, this EXT button will enable you to use an external audio source to trigger your dynamics processing. That input is what we saw earlier on the back. And next to that button is a link button, so you can use another one of these units if you have a stereo audio source, like an instrument or a mix bus, and the two units will talk to each other and link the dynamics together so they are responding in unison. Next to that section are the buttons for the inserts. So the first button is in. Okay, well I can't use that because I don't have any inserts plugged in, but if I did, that would turn it on. So if I'm using any other outboard EQs or dynamics or whatever processing with the insert send and return in the back, I don't know what else you'd need with this classic sound built into this, but to each your own. And then this button labeled OP next to that, which moves the insert point post EQ. Again, so much routing customization with processing in the circuit. Finally, an output trim knob next to this master LED meter showing your output signal. There's also a button below that meter that enables you to monitor your input signal. This is such a high-powered, pro-level channel strip. From EQs to dynamics to the transformers, all of the processing, this is what was in those consoles. It's a greatest hits. It's all of the things you love about the consoles and the old channel strips now in one unit. It is back. It is revived. If you've always wanted that SSL 4K sound, here it is. Buy a bunch of them. Fill up your whole rack with these. And when you are ready to upgrade your studio or your home studio with the Revival 4000 channel strip, give Full Compass a call. We are here for you. 800-356-5844 or go to fullcompass.com. We got them, and we are ready to help you revive your sound. For Full Compass, I'm Nick Marzock. Keep it right here at Full Compass for more from SSL, for more gear reviews, interviews, and so much more content that we make for you, the pro. Follow us on social media and YouTube. Interact with us. Tell us what kind of reviews you'd like to see in the future, and tell us how much you are loving the Revival. And like I said, if you have any questions before you buy, give us a call. Full Compass, SSL, Revival 4000. I'm so stupid.